Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today, we have one of the really greatest recordings ever. I mean, actually, it's a pretty obvious pick, I have to say. But once you take a look at it, you'll just nod your head in total agreement and say, oh, he's so right. He's just so right. It's the War Requiem by Britten, conducted by Britten. Of course, you could pick a lot of things of Britten conducting Britten, but I think this one is particularly special. I really do, for a number of reasons. First of all, if you listen to the actual premiere broadcast, which was released on Testament, some people raved, oh, it's the premiere broadcast, it's so exciting. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Oh my God, well, the acoustics are bad. The sonics are lousy. The performance practically falls apart. It was a catastrophe. It was a mess. How anybody even got a sense of the thing. I guess if you were actually there at Coventry Cathedral, it sounded probably better live. But wow, what a horrible mess. You would never think that the piece was as great a work as it really is from listening to that thing, let me tell you. So it shows, first of all, the fact that studio recording is not necessarily evil, and not everything that major record labels did was bad, and that live recordings are not always to be preferred, especially when they sound under-rehearsed and hopelessly uncoordinated. It was just really an unfortunate occasion. But that was all fixed and how, when Decca made the recording. Now, Britten was, as you know, a fabulous conductor of his own music, and really a pretty damn good conductor more generally, depending on the repertoire, of course, like it's true of everybody, but he was very, very good, very talented conductor, and he was wonderful in the recording studio. He was a modern guy in that sense. You know, he had no trouble making records, and you can't ever say, with respect to Britten's own performances of his music, that they were one whit less emotionally involved or intense or exciting as anything that we know of what he did or heard live. They just aren't. They're really, really, really good. He cared about what his music sounded like. He was concerned about getting just the right interpretation and just the right performance, and he got really wonderful results from his artists. He really did. So I have absolutely no problem recommending this as, oh, there we go. I was looking at my C. It looked a little odd. No, recommending this as one of the greatest recordings ever. And, the cast is Galina Vishnevskaya as the soprano. She was not allowed to participate in the premiere. She was hysterically angry about it, but the Russian government wouldn't let her out because they did not believe in gestures of peace, including, German and English artists and Russian artists. And they had a whole issue with it. Seems like they still do now that you think about it. Anyway, so she wasn't allowed to do it, but she was allowed to get out to make the recording, thank God. And there was a wonderful story about her, not understanding because she didn't speak English, that she was supposed to be in the balcony, and she thought that they were trying to kill her, and she, lay down in her dressing room and get a screaming fit until somebody could explain to her exactly what they wanted and what was going on. And then she was okay. And you've got Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau singing in English with Pears, of course, as the two soldiers with the chamber or separate chamber orchestra. You've got the Bach Choir, the London Symphony Orchestra Chorus, the Highgate School Choir, Simon Preston playing the small organ and the big organ, the Melos Ensemble doing the chamber music stuff, the London Symphony Orchestra, and Benjamin Britten doing the whole thing. It's an enormously complicated work because you have the main orchestra with the main chorus, and then you have the boys' choir in the distance with the soprano singing the Latin text. And then you've got, the chamber orchestra with percussion doing the Wilfred Owen poems, in English. And it's really a big thing, a very, very big deal. It's also one of the works, I think, that Britten intended it to be a masterpiece. And it was. That's the point. It's not like he was being presumptuous. He wanted to make a statement with a capital S. And he did make a huge statement about, the horrors of war and and the virtues of peaceful coexistence, and all of those things. And it really is a tremendously moving and powerful work. And for all that, it's a totally contemporary work in Britten's own style. It's not an easy piece. It's not harmonically simplistic. It's not populist, but it is because Britten uses his language, his musical syntax, in such a way as to make the music immediately affecting. I mean, it really is. It doesn't even matter whether you're in sympathy with his style or not. The piece itself goes straight into you, very, very effectively. And this recording is a knockout. I mean, Britten's own recordings are usually very, very good, as I've said before. But since Britten's own time, many of them have been surpassed. There have been better performances of some of the works, or as good. It's a lot like the situation with Leonard Bernstein. Most of his own recordings of his own works are fabulous, but there have been others that are arguably superior, or at least as good as his. I think that there are recordings of the War Requiem that are as good as this. I think Hickox's particularly is as good as this, and it's even better sonically, the one on Chandos. But by and large, as an exemplar of what this work ought to be, and as a realization of Britten's intentions for what the thing should be doing and how to realize it sonically, this is an astounding recording, a stunning work, and a fabulous bit of engineering, and an outstanding performance that everyone could be incredibly proud of, and really historic, because there aren't that many works that go straight into the repertoire at the time of their first performance. This was in 1960 something, right? When was this recorded? 63. And they haven't left since, and it's been just about universally admired, both as a recording and as a work. So it's an outstanding memento of the union of business, technology, musical history, and of course the genius of Benjamin Britten. So QED, I hope. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.